Hello everyone, I am Tacit, and today I'm going to be going over the Gems of War Werewoods faction as of the new Deep Delve variant, which also brings in the new 5th troop for the faction, as well as a bunch of teams and strategy for the place. So Werewoods is a green-red faction associated to that of Urskea. This does bring Urskea to 25 stars if you have every possible level up, which is a little bit extra gold per day, but even if you can't reach that, of course, it'll make it easier to reach any other milestone that you'll want to try to reach. It is a HP-based kingdom, so anytime you get 5, 10, 20 star there, or getting closer to it, you'll end up getting your HP value increased. As far as the faction itself is concerned, of course, now it has 2 layouts, this new layout and the previous one. They are both can be summarized and do a clockwise circle, and you'll probably be fine, particularly with the newer one, as really good multiplier. This is normally a tier 2 room, or this is the deep delve, actual deep delve one, the one you use 2 sigils for, so it's showing a chest here, but I believe it's normally a tier 2 room. And essentially, even though this is normally a tier 2 room, you normally want to go clockwise around this circle. And the main reason is you want to get to the 2 tier 5s quicker. If you take the 3 and 4, you won't get there as quick, and these normally have pretty high multiplier, up to 1.5 times. In this case, we kind of got pretty average ones, so if you really want to look, sometimes this actually will be better to go counterclockwise, but more often than not, if you just want to keep doing the same thing over and over again without checking the rooms, just going clockwise is probably fine. But basically, both the layouts are very similar. You just do a circle, so take every room except for all the side rooms, and then you take the side rooms. There are 2 guaranteed treasure room side rooms. The one is all the way to the top right over here, and the other one is right in the middle. You can easily identify them as they are the ones off of the circular path. And then, of course, once you're done with all those, you then go and take the actual battle. The other layout is very, very, very similar. If we go over to the actual event, of course, if you go under games, you can get to the actual faction event, which is where you go and get the new troop. But as far as the other layout, very similar. Just do a circle. This one's a lot... It could vary which direction you need to go in as far as the circle. I think more often than not, it's counterclockwise, but just double check the multipliers. But regardless, if you just go in a circle, you'll be fine. But this is a very similar layout. You just do a circle, and then you have 2 on the outskirts. This one is the treasure room, which of course you want to take last, ideally, if you want to maximize on its value. And then, of course, you take out the actual boss room. As far as the new troop is concerned, it's actually not useless. This is one of the first ones that we've gotten, among one of the few, where it is actually viable to run in the main team. The biggest downside is I don't believe they've updated Torbjorn's ability to summon this. So the only way that you can ever have it on your team or have it in the final fight is if you have it on your team and then like not cast it that much, so that you can actually have it for the final fight, which could be really annoying due to how this place works. So this is one of the most annoying factions in the entire game. The main reason being, as far as difficulty, and the main reason being is that every single troop has a chance of transforming into something else when they cast. All the troops that aren't Torbjorn have a chance of transforming into Torbjorn, and Torbjorn has a chance of being transformed every time he casts into anything other than the SAR Hound. But as far as what he does, he deals a bunch of damage to an enemy, and if the enemy has Hunter's Mark, it deals triple damage. There's also a 25% chance to transform into Torbjorn, which of course is the same mechanic that all of these have, but as damage to an enemy and then Hunter's Mark for the triple damage if they're Hunter's Marked. This is, of course, a lot of damage. There's already an alternative way of doing triple damage in this place, and that is, of course, the Wecat. This one does its triple damage based on... oh, wait, never mind. This isn't triple damage. It's if there's 13 plus red. Yeah, it will deal triple damage. That's what I thought. If there's 13 plus red, it deals triple damage and creates 8 red. So it gets a little bit more value, but it's a lot harder to land 13 plus red compared to landing does it have Hunter's Mark. But as far as Torbjorn is concerned, this is the one that all of them transform into. Oh no, it's actually a Werewoods beast. Never mind, they have actually updated it. Was it always that? Never mind. So yeah, Beastmaster Torbjorn does have the chance of summoning into Werehound. Okay, interesting. So yeah, you can, because it's all the beasts. I thought it actually listed out all 3 in the past, but never mind. It actually does do the category of a beast from this location, from the actual faction itself. So that means it can transform into Werehound, so that's good. But yeah, it's very annoying. You basically keep your mana accumulation tank all the way until the end. It's the only thing that can even remotely tank, so hopefully you can stay alive. You have your Wecat as your most damaging option, with its triple damage, but also having the chance of getting its red back. And then you have Werehound, which is a lot easier to land its triple damage, but has no follow-up on its triple damage, aside from the annoying transform. And then Torbjorn kind of just holds down the line. You always have at least one of him initially, just so you can end up having the convert. However, you are eventually going to have more of him, and he'll transform into other things. The other things will transform into him. It's a whole mess of transformation. Everything just keeps transforming every which direction. Aside from that, as far as the weapon is concerned, it's nothing really too special. If we go over to the weapon here, just deal some damage to the first 2 enemies, boosted by allied beasts at a ratio that isn't really worth using, and then summons a beast. This isn't really a weapon that you would ever use, however, this weapon doesn't come around too often, so if you do want to get it just for completion's sake, it could be quite a while before it rolls back around, but that can kind of be said for a lot of weapons. But in the future, this is normally only available 1 day a week on Tuesdays, whenever there's an Urskia event, so it doesn't come back too often, but also doesn't really have much of a use case. But if you're buying deep enough into the faction to get all the rewards, you could easily go an extra 1 in order to get the weapon. Because if you're already buying to tier 3 and don't have the weapon, you might as well just go all the way to tier 4 and also get the weapon. Anyways, let's start going into some teams. We kind of already showed the one, though we will go re-over it in a second. All of which are in the description below if you want to go and copy-paste any of them. We have access to green-red, as we mentioned earlier, as far as our restriction for the faction is concerned, which means we can just run double Tesla, triple Tesla, however you want to run it. We have access to Leprechaun for the rush mana. We have Holy St. Astra. You can shove your hero somewhere here if you want some hero XP, but it's actually a little bit stronger without hero. Unless you want to just like hero tank or something. But Holy St. Astra, 50% mana start to all humans. Tesla is a human that instantly wins you the battle after you cast her a few times. And Leprechaun just here for mana accumulation. That's all you have to do. And Tesla scales through the entire thing. While this is mentioned under 20 to 100, it's actually the 20 to 500 team. You could run this the entire faction and it will never fall off. I just happened to mention it for the lower range there, but you can just keep using it the entire time. It'll be fine. Next, we have our Rowanne build. Similarly, you could use this the whole time too if you replace out Black Manacle for a Skia Shield. Basically, just any weapon. Keep in mind the weapon does not have to correspond to the color, so even though it's a green-red restriction, you are allowed to use any colored weapon. In this case, it's pretty standard Rowanne team just across the thing. You can use any hero class you want, though Archer and similar with Greenstorm tend to be a bit better, but you can run whatever you need class XP on there. For the higher level team, we went with an Empress buff into whatever your best AoE is. Obviously, in this case, I showed a Stellarex here, but if you don't have Stellarex, run Diamantina. If you don't have Diamantina, run whatever your next best option is. Maybe like a Scourge of Honor or something similar, whatever you have. But basically, it's a buff your AoE into instant win kind of team. You just get your Bless and or Cleanse. You get your Leprechaun for the initial mana. Emperor's Cast gives a ton of magic to your last slot. Your last slot then kills everything in 1 or a couple shots, and you're good to go. Rinse and repeat for all fights. Next, we have the lower range for that, which is double Truffle. All these are actually faction troops, so you can get at any point. The first one is Mirage Queen, which you can end up getting from the Sunken Fleet faction if you just throw Chaos Shards there. And of course, you'll be earning Chaos Shards from doing this weekend event, so you could just use the ones that you earn during the event to make your higher level team, and simply just get it that way. And then we have the King Gob Truffle, just always been just a really good, consistent looper in the game. And you can end up doing this for a bunch of mana accumulation. He feeds back in himself. He feeds into your wand. You can use wand for curse and or bless. Get your little bit of mana. Of course, if you don't have wand, you could run it out for any other weapon. Ideally, some kind of brown weapon that can utilize all the brown mana that you're going to create. Well, you can put pretty much anything there. Though in this case, we happen to have wand, but if you don't have wand, just run the best brown weapon you have, either for damage or mana accumulation. Next, we have ourselves the Pure Faction team, which there's a lot of ways you can run this. I went with a diverse team of 4, but the main strategies is try to get your Werebeer into the final fight. That is the most important thing. The rest of your team barely even matters. You could even double up on Werebeer if you really want to try it, though normally just transforming into it's probably fine. But you want to make sure this Werebeer can get all the way to the final. The main reason is he has only a 20% chance to transform, so you can normally get away with doing his ability a bit more compared to some of the others. I believe both have 25%. Yeah, 25%, 25%. So he's a little bit lower chance of being completely ruined. But the other reason is he's really good mana accumulation. He explodes basically every red on the board, also enraging himself so he can get actually a little bit more skull damage. But this faction has very, very low tank ability. It can tank in the sense that it keeps transforming back and forth if you want to do it that way. So one other strategy, I guess, could be to tank with anything that you don't care too much about. Tank with that, keep transforming back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and then have your Werebeer in third slot, and this assumes that you'll go Werebeer something something as your team. Either strategy works, but if you want to have a bigger team and go all out, you put your Werebeer in first slot, make sure it doesn't die, and just get it to the final fight. But if you want to play it safer, if you feel like you have lower stats, just put a meat shield of anything in first slot. Doesn't really matter too much which one it is. It could even be double Werebeer. And then go Werebeer something something. Most likely Werebeer, Werehound, and Beastmaster, though you can also do Werebeer, Werecat, and Beastmaster. But end up doing that. As long as you bring that into the final fight, you should be fine. You use this for mana accumulation and tanking. Also has an enrage poke. You use this to get some more red when there's a lot of red, normally after Torburn has done his ability, because that creates all blue into red, so you can end up using that in order to create red. And then you have the red creation, which will hopefully get you an extra turn. For nothing else, at least a little bit of your mana back. And if you get really lucky, it'll get both your Wecat and your Beastmaster to full mana. And then you actually use the new Werewolf Hound. He's a lot easier to hit your triple damage, as it's a lot easier to land or place Hunter's Mark onto the enemy team. Due to, I believe it has double Hunter's Mark. Yeah, Hunter's Mark the first 2 enemies. So it's a lot easier to end up hitting his triple damage compared to Wecat, but it has no follow-up. It doesn't create 8 red, doesn't create anything. It's simply just for the damage, but it's a lot easier to get that triple damage compared to Wecat. So it's a nice in-between, and that's usable because of that. It also has a slightly lower mana cost, which is nice. So it's a lot easier to land, but doesn't have any follow-up like Wecat does. So Wecat is still technically stronger under optimal circumstances. The team before used to be Werebear, Wecat, Beastmaster. But one nice thing about this, and if you can kind of keep your team like it, though it likely will not be the case because they keep transforming, having a unique team of 4 does give you some more stats. You get 4 times unique Werewoods, you get 4 times unique Urskia, and you get 4 times unique Beast. And this can help out a lot. We can see here, at least with the endgame maxed out pets, you can see that we have over 100 life here. We're getting a decent amount of attack, even a little bit extra armor. So a ton of durability, over 120 total, looks like, between the armor and HP and everything. Also getting, like, what, 30-ish attack? Somewhere around there. So that's not too bad at all. That's a lot of extra stats. And even earlier on in the game, even if you don't have these as upgraded, you'll still be getting extra stats. Maybe not that high, but you will be getting a lot of extra stats nonetheless. And this can help a lot in just making sure they don't die in any given fight. But your main issue is just going to be dealing with transformation, which is why you generally don't want to cast your Werebear early on so that you can bring it to your final fight and then let it transform. But it's a mess. It's a mess of a kingdom or a faction. It is the most annoying by far. I'm not sure if I would say Werewoods is the hardest faction in the game. It's definitely top 3 hardest. But it is the most annoying, I would say, even more so than Loraz's Lair. That is also a very luck-based faction. But it's a luck-based faction where your team stays as is. Whereas this thing just keeps shifting. Like, you'll have a different team for every single fight as you go through. And the worst part is, there's not a quick path to get through. I believe both layouts are, what, a 5-room? 1, 2, or what is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the other one, I believe, is also a 5, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. I wanted to check the other layout, though. Let me see. Where is the other layout? I believe it's minimum 5, which is the other thing that makes this really annoying. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. That is bad. Not only is it that's the reason why this one was so bad too. It's not even just because it transforms. It just is really luck based and everything because of that. But you have to do a 5-room. The new layout is a 5. The old layout is a 5. Every direction is a 5. That is brutal. Yeah, maybe this is the hardest one to be honest. But yeah, luckily due to events like this, if you do want to make it a lot easier, it is very costly. But if you spend about like 2,500 gems this week, which I would only advise if you're way later in the game, but this is among one of the hardest factions in the game, so it is a bit more worthwhile if you haven't done it already to basically buy tier 7 multiple times and just completely out the entirety of the faction event that way. Obviously, you don't need that. You could easily just do it whenever by using the standard potion effects that you get from the Horde. Of course, you can still end up utilizing all of these benefits from upgrading this, and you get additional benefits as it goes up and all those stats. It's definitely one of the most annoying, I would say, but it's very doable without doing it with the event. You can still spend 0 gems and get it done, but it will be alleviated a lot as far as its difficulty doing the buffs that we have this weekend, so it's potentially worth considering. But anyways, guys, I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. Best of luck with the faction event. All of the teams that we just mentioned are in the description below if you want to copy and paste any of them. I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. Bye, everyone.